Hi everybody, welcome back to our version of Life Off the Grid. I'm Courtney and this is my dad Tom. We live in the Tongass temperate rainforest. Stay tuned, we have a great show for you today. I have a cool story to share with you guys today. Earlier we found a porcupine in the woods buried. Do you know what today is? It is December 1st, and it is the first day of trapping season, and it is snow. There is snow on the ground, and it is kind of snowing.
Hey, I'm Tom. So like Courtney said, welcome to our version of Life Off the Grid. I guess we're starting our YouTube channel in the middle of our story. It's trapping season right now. Courtney is really proud of her trap line and of her YouTube channel. Like I said, we live off the grid, and we'll talk about that in the future, how we got here and what we're doing. But Puff, we sit in the middle of the Tongass. That's where we are right now. And my 9-year-old daughter is trapping. Now, don't get me wrong, we have no idea what we're doing. But we didn't have any idea what we were doing when we bought a bus. And when we were building this thing, trying to figure out how to make electricity by solar power and how to put in a potbelly stove. So we've watched a lot of YouTube videos. God, have we checked out a lot of YouTube videos on how to catch weasels and how to catch coyotes and wolves and how to catch marten and mink and beaver, for goodness sake. So beaver season up here in Juneau, Alaska started on November 10th. And it took us about 10 days to figure out, actually it took us 9 days to figure out where we wanted to put a trap. And we put one there, and in the morning we had a beaver. So Courtney got her very first beaver. And as you know by the past video, we cleaned it, we skinned it. So we're still working on tanning it, and we've already made the other bit of video about finishing and how to flesh it. That'll be up soon. Yeah, so Courtney really likes this this trapping, and so we're gonna give it a shot. But we're not selling any of the fur. You may be able to buy a product from Courtney, but she wants to make doll clothes out of squirrel hide. I don't think so. We have a lot of squirrels right now, which means we should have a lot of marten, and we had a lot of salmon in the stream hatching this year. Just recently, there's a lot of fry, and I'll show you the video of the egg whites. Okay, quick quiz for everybody. You're walking in the woods in Alaska by a stream, surrounded by Devil's Club and a dog, and you come across this white foam in the water. What do you think it is? Bruno, come behind. Hey, get back. So, Bruno, get out of it. That is the, I guess you call it the embryonic fluid. It is the remnants of the last of the salmon egg. So the egg white, I guess you could say. Anyway, we had a bunch of salmon hatch. And that's the egg white left behind. We have salmon in our creek. So yeah, so the mink will be feeding on those baby salmon all winter long. So the mink are swimming in our creek out back here, which was full of coho salmon and chum salmon. But the return hasn't been very well, so I'm hoping I can knock down a few of these mink and we can make some really cool clothing with it, and maybe have a few more salmon a couple of years. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, the beaver was good. And so oh, by the way, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Yesterday was the first day of trapping season, and I just can't sleep. I went to bed way too early. It's dark, so I got to get Courtney off to school first thing in the morning about 7 o'clock. And then right after that, you and I are going to go check the traps. And let's see what we got. I can't believe we found a porcupine buried at the base of a big tree. So I'm looking around trying to figure out where I want to set another couple traps. And I have a big, huge hind quarter of beaver. And then I also have this lure that I've made. I made my own. It's made out of salmon oil and let's see, salmon oil, bacon grease, and beaver grease from the fat. So I'll show you how I get my salmon oil. Courtney and I went fishing all summer long, and she's a really good fisherman. We'll have videos up about that pretty soon. And so our favorite fish, king salmon and the coho, silver salmon. So king salmon were in June, end of June, beginning of July. And we caught quite a few of those, but the coho is what we really cleaned up on. So I think we got about, I don't know, 15, 16 coho. And so our coho, we have it, I don't have the facilities here. It's not a competition. I don't care if I don't smoke my own fish. But I got a great discount from Dick's here in town because I brought a lot of the customers fish to him. So he smoked some fish for me, and this is how we get it back. So it's in this metal package, and this is like canning it, the way it's processed. This is metal, so I think a can of salmon is supposed to last 7 years, and this is supposed to last 5 years. And it's not supposed to last 5 months, because we'll get more salmon coming up this summer. So we have about 300 of these things. And they all have a little bit of juice at the bottom of them. So after we open it up and we take the salmon out, I don't really care for the skin. Courtney loves it. So I take my portion of the skin and I put it in with the juice. And then we have this big jug that we've been filling this stuff up with also our bacon grease. And then we add a whole bunch of the grease, the fat from the beaver. Man, that was a fat beaver. And so we have this big jug of that stuff that we use for a lure. So we're gonna see if we can get some marten and some mink this year, and we're gonna make some really cool stuff. Courtney wants to make her very first hat out of the beaver, so I think that's gonna happen. We'll see. But I like that she sees how things are from start to finish, from figuring out where to put the traps, to actually trapping something, to then treating that animal with respect and finishing your task of we have to skin it and we'll tan it and we'll do it properly so we don't waste it. And she knows how to catch her own salmon and make her own dinner. And now she knows how to trap a beaver, because beaver is very edible. We ate a bunch of it, but I didn't have any real bait for my trap line this year for her little short line. So we ate a little bit of the beaver, but the rest of it's going to the trap line. So anyway, we set up a couple, got about 3 different snares set up. This big, huge plateau, because I found an old deer carcass that someone had shot and skinned a deer and left the gut pile and everything on the side of the road. So you're not allowed to move hit and run deer here. Yet you can trap around them, but you can't move a roadkill. But this was definitely a roadkill. This was someone that lives in town that had no place to put his carcass. Lucky me, I saw 2 eagles fighting over this thing, so I pulled over real quick. And I went, I know what that is. That's my wolf bait. So anyway, we got some snares out. We are so not going to catch a wolf. We just look like trappers. We are making this stuff up as we go along. We're just trying. I mean, wolf, I'll give it to them. They're pretty dang smart animals. We hear them. Man, do we hear them. They'll give you goosebumps in your bone marrow. Oof, when they howl, man, it's nothing like on TV. But we've never seen them. We've seen their tracks. Got them on I'll put this on. I also have them on a trail cam from 2 years ago. Big black one. Pretty cool. So I doubt we're going to catch a wolf. We have no idea. My dog and I, we're up there all summer long, and in the winter time, and I pretty much know where these wolves have been peeing because he pees in the same couple trees constantly. So we set him in that area. Recently, we found a porcupine buried at the base of a really big tree that had fallen over, and the root ball had made this little nesting area. Like, I could live there. So I was going to set a trap there, and we found a dead porcupine. It was buried in just a little bit of soil, but it looked like a battlefield. There was quills everywhere. And the only really thing that hunts porcupines around here, anything will eat a dead porcupine, but the fisher. So I'm pretty sure we had a fisher that got this porcupine, but he buried it for a later date. So we set a trap, and we moved that porcupine out of the way a little bit, and checked its skull. Sure enough, it was definitely a fisher. So we set a foothold trap for it, right in the trail where it comes to visit it. It hadn't been eating on it, but it came back to check it every now and then. So we saw the tracks. And we're gonna go out right now, you and I. Courtney's at school. She hates missing out on checking the trap line, but we check it every day. And sometimes I check it twice a day, depending on the weather. But we've had some pretty warm weather lately. There's plenty of food everywhere, so the trapping has been pretty slow. But we still check them. Let me grab our goodies and go check. So we're out checking the trap line. This is where we live. It's the Tongass temperate rainforest. Out there in the valley, in the opening, we have about 3 inches of snow that's melting pretty quickly, but we're gonna get some more snow tonight. We've had rain the last couple, 4 or 5 days. But it's beautiful, beautiful country. So exploring the other day, I found this stash of pine cones, and then there's another one underneath the tree over here. They're buried in this hole under here, and then they're also covered up. So this is beautiful marten and fisher country, and we just had this porcupine, I guess about 300 yards from here. And I'm gonna go check a trap right now and see if we got our fisher. I checked it this morning, nothing. So I don't know if he's visiting or not, but it's pretty warm. As you can see, the canopy keeps the snow off of the floor here for quite a while. So there's lots of food. But anyway, it's one of my sets. Try to hay set. We're coming up to the set, and I believe we've got something. Okay, I'm coming up to the trap here, and it looks like we've got the fisher. I got him in a foothold trap. Yep, we got us a fisher. Let me dispatch this thing. I'll be right back. So we got him dispatched, and look at this guy. We got ourselves a really, really gorgeous fisher. Look at the underneath. Anyway, Courtney is going to be so excited that we got her a fisher. We found the porcupine. We figured out where to set the trap. We waited about a week, checked it every single day, and today we got ourselves some more fur. Back to the shed to skin this thing. Okay, so we have this fisher back to the house, loaded with porcupine quills. Look at that, from the fight. But what a gorgeous fisher. Our very first one, and we're gonna do a really good job. Show you one more thing. I just started pulling the porcupine quills out, and I have to say, they just going in, look how deep those things go. Man, that's crazy.